Every developer has that other list. Not the to-do list, the one where things sit for months because they're technically doable, but the time and credit cost makes them feel like a weekend project that never happens. A TypeScript migration for a code base still running plain JavaScript. A test suite that was always next sprint. A full refactor to clean up old technical debt. These aren't small tasks. Handing an agent a 40-file JavaScript codebase and saying convert this to TypeScript, generate a full test suite, add proper error handling is a long run and on a flagship model that costs real credits. So it gets pushed back, not because the tool can't do it, because the math doesn't feel right for a casual run. Here's what that migration actually looks like when it runs inside Qoder. The project is a real open source Node.js Express API, about 40 files of plain JavaScript with working routes, middleware, and a database layer, but no TypeScript and no test suite. The task: migrate everything to TypeScript, generate a jest test suite covering all routes and utility functions, add centralized error handling, and add jsdoc on all public functions. One agent task end-to-end, no manual edits. Qoder has two workspaces, the editor for inline assistance and Quest, the dedicated space for autonomous delegation, which is what's used here. Quest shows a task panel on the left, the agent's work in the center, and a review panel with file diffs on the right. Model selector is set to Qwen 3.7 max. The project folder gets attached, the task description goes in, and Quest picks it up. First, it reads, Qoder's repo wiki maps every file, function, and dependency before anything gets touched. Then it plans, breaking the work into an audit phase, TypeScript conversion, test generation, and documentation, each tracked on the task board. Experts mode runs two agents in parallel, one converting to TypeScript, one building the test suite. The conversion phase works through route handlers, then utility functions, then the database layer, inferring types from usage and writing real interfaces rather than just renaming file extensions. The test agent works from actual function behavior rather than boilerplate. For a parser route with an empty input edge case, it writes a test for that case unprompted, because it read the conditional and understood the case needed coverage. The suite finishes at 75 tests, 9 failed and 62 passed. A follow-up request is made to fix the failed tests. The documentation pass reads each function and writes accurate jsdoc comments in a consistent format. End result: a fully typed TypeScript codebase, 84 passing tests, centralized error handling, and complete jsdoc coverage from a plain JavaScript API that started with none of it. One task that used to sit on the list, done in a single run. This video is sponsored by Qoder because of a pricing change that went live June 23rd, 2026 that directly changes the math on runs like this one. Qoder introduced off-peak rates for Qwen 3.7 every day from 1400 to 00 UTC, including weekends and holidays. The credit multiplier for Qwen 3.7 max and Qwen 3.7 plus drops. Max goes from 0.5 times to 0.1 times, an 80% reduction. Plus goes from 0.1 times to 0.04 times, a 60% reduction. One off-peak credit does the work of 5 at standard rate. The migration just shown ran inside that window at the 0.1 times rate. This lowers the multiplier. It doesn't add bonus credits. Usage still counts toward the monthly plan allowance. It just costs a fraction of what it normally would. It's available on Pro Trial, Pro, Pro Plus, Ultra, and Teams. And it's automatic. No sign up or opt-in needed. New users get a 14-day Pro Trial with 300 credits on first login, so the window is available from day one. The only action required: open the model selector in Qoder and switch to Qwen 3.7-Max or Qwen 3.7-Plus. Off-peak applies to those two models only. It's the same model during standard hours and off-peak hours. Same reasoning, same context length, same output quality. Only the multiplier changes. Compute capacity runs tight during peak hours and sits underused off-peak, so Qoder passes that difference on as lower rates. It's structural pricing, not a promotional sale, with no announced end date. The practical shift is a scheduling habit. Keep mornings for the small interactive tasks: inline edits, quick fixes, code reviews. In the afternoon, load the big jobs into Quest, switch to Qwen 3.7 Max, let them run, and review the output at the end of the day. Qoder's knowledge engine also compounds this over time, since every run builds context on the code base that the next task can reuse, making later runs faster and cheaper. The tasks that used to feel too expensive to run casually are now the ones to run first during the window on the right model. Qoder is available for macOS, Windows, and Linux, with a JetBrains plugin and a CLI for terminal workflows. The link in the description gives the 14-day pro trial with 300 credits on first login. Off-peak rates are live now, no end date announced, every day. Download Qoder, switch to Qwen 3.7 Max, wait for 2 p.m. and put something on the taskboard that's been sitting too long. Let me know in the comment section what you will be building with Qoder.